This is YSM Sports Media. I want to thank you for all your love and support. Really appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and click the notification button for all future content.
Here with Devon Williams. What's good, Dev?
Not much. Chilling, having a little lunch at the Gables Cafe, my favorite spot to go to, 46 at Woodland. You ever get a chance, slide past here.
Philadelphia, PA, by the way.
Philadelphia, PA. I forgot the 19143 if y'all want to get all that. Y'all can go ahead and Google Maps.
All right, Dev, you know exactly why I'm here. Well, first we can start off with Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko, and then we can get into Gaethje.
So yeah, we started talking about it. One of the main things that I thought was going to be, so it's not about so much who's a better tactician. There's a lot of factors, because skills is one factor that goes into a fight. Anybody that watches fights know that. Do I think Teofimo was the more skillful fighter before the fight, or is? I'm hard pressed to say yes. I would still say Loma has a more diverse game than him. We've seen, a lot more off the front foot, the back foot, the angles. He's fought a much wider variety of opponents. So I don't think it's a skill thing. What I think it was is a bunch of factors, and like what I was saying earlier is that Teo knew that he had a good matchup against him. He knew that, he bought speed, he bought power, that a smaller man would have to respect, but he also knew that Loma was older and that he had the time off, and he was open about that the entire time, and honestly, it was the perfect timing to fight him. I think all those factors played in, as well as the fact that I don't think that Loma ever fought somebody in the pros as fast as Teo, and that's a big factor. When you see somebody that's fast and they start twitching, you have to give them space. Loma's normally the faster fighter. We said outside of the Gary Russell, but he's smaller and he didn't show up that fight anyway. So the only two big men he fought outside of Nick Walters was Luke Campbell, who's a technical guy, a quirky guy, but relatively slow with no real power. He fought Linares, who to me, I was campaigning for that fight. I'm like, I didn't even believe in Loma until he fought Linares. Linares is one of those, I don't want to call him a gatekeeper, but at this point in his career, he is. If you do decent or beat Linares, then you can get talked about like. So that was a good fight, and let's not forget he got caught in that fight too. He showed that power at 35 can hurt him. But again, that was an older guy with a lot of wear and tear who's not necessarily fast in either. So I thought Teo's speed, his youth, and all that would negate a lot of the skill that Loma brought to the table. And that's what wound up happening, as well as the distance. That was a big factor in the fight nobody talked about. It wasn't so much the power. The power's there, obviously. We're not going to act like he hasn't fought punches before. Whether Walters or Linares is as big of a puncher as Teo, we don't know. We've never been on the end of those shots. They all got, highlight reels with it. But when you got somebody that maintains distance, when you watch the fight, Teo never stepped to Loma hard unless his back was against the rope. Because when you step and engage right there against the southpaw, that gives him the angle to start cutting when you plant your feet. He knew that, and it's a simple game plan, but effective one. Angles only get created in close range. He's a longer fighter and a faster fighter. Whenever they got into a battle of the feet in the middle of the ring, he made sure he kept the proper distance. And that was the more telling thing. And obviously the 12th round, everybody you've talked to already knows that 12th round, he showed that he had the heart of a champion too. So it was a beautiful fight. I don't think the rematch is going to happen. It doesn't need to happen. I think Teo's dad's hilarious. He's hilarious. I love watching his interviews. In the post-fight interview, he was like, yeah, we beat the hell out that boy. We damn near killed him. I'm just like, not really. No. Actually, to be fair,
in the middle rounds,
I was
ready to go.
I was like, in that fight outside of the 12th, which was a dog fight from both of them. You gotta respect both of them, because though Teo was catching Loma, people don't talk about how Loma still kept walking forward, even though he was getting caught. Even a big shot he got caught with, he got caught coming forward and kept coming forward. Like he was willing to go out on his shield. Not many smaller men coming up are willing to do that. Not many champions are willing to do that. Especially, but he was willing to go get it. Even if he won that round, he still might not have won the fight. He knew he had to look for a finish, so that's a lot of respect. But outside of that one flash, the only person that looked like they was getting out of there was his son. So I think you need to kind of reevaluate how you spoke about it. But you a dad, so I understand. If my son was in that situation, I'd be talking the same shit too.
Do you feel like it was the respect of Teo's power that kept him from engaging him in the first couple rounds?
No, I think like power is there, but power is like, when you got somebody like Loma, it's not like he hasn't seen power before, and we're not going to act like he didn't bring guys into camp that could replicate, you know. It's not that hard to get guys from 140 who can punch on you so you can get that type of work. I don't think that it was the power, it was the speed and the distance and the discipline of Teo. Those were the things that won that fight. The power is like, yeah, but the speed is more important than the power. When you try to cut an angle and Teo checks you quick, he's not even turning his hips into it. It's a heavy-handed check, yes, but that speed makes you realize I can't just do what I got to do, and you have to adjust to that speed. It takes longer to get that timing. Can Loma beat Teo? I honestly believe Loma can beat him. I just don't believe he had enough time. You don't have enough time to figure out somebody with that speed, and then the power starts to come into play, because if you do make a mistake, you do get clipped. But if it was just all power, he didn't have that type of speed, or if he was just crowding all of his punches, it would have been another Nick Walters type fight. It just would have been that. It would have been easy, but he did a good job. And again, when you see, when Loma tried to press, he either was firing that uppercut or he just took a step back. He cut the angle with Loma. He never sat there and just got into a firefight, even though he probably would win it, because when you start planting your feet against a sleep-footed fighter like Loma, that's when he starts opening up on you and beating the hell out of you. So I don't really think it was all the power. That's a nice thing to say. It's the easy thing to say, but I think that's almost disrespectful to Teo and all the work that he put into that fight. You feel me?
Okay.